بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم. Today we will start to discuss the topic of the anatomy of the leg. At the beginning we will start with the bony skeleton of the leg. As it's seen in this figure, the leg is composed from two bones which will form the bony skeleton of the leg. These bones are the medially situated bone, which called the tibia, and the laterally situated bone, which called the fibula. To start with tibia, this bone is long bone, compact bone. It composed of three parts: upper expanded end, which called the condylar region of the tibia, and lower expanding end, which called the malleolar part of the tibia, and in between the long compact bone, which is the shaft of tibia. To start with, upper part of the tibia or tibial condyle, large part, expanding, triangular in shape. It has an upper flattened surface, which is the articular surface of the tibia, which is flat shape, separated in the middle part by an prominence called intercondylar eminence. Each surface is attached to the cartilage of the knee joint, which called the menisci, and these flattened surface, they will receive the rounded lower part of the femur, and together with femur they will form the knee joint. Tibial condyles are two condyles. One is medial condyle of the tibia, and the other is the lateral condyle of the tibia. Laterally, the lateral condyle of the tibia has an articular facet for articulation with the head of the fibula and the upper tibiofibular joint. In front, tibial condyle, there is a rough area called tibial tuberosity, and this is an important landmark for attachment with patellar ligaments. Second part of the tibia is the shaft of the tibia, which is long, compact bone on transverse section, triangular in shape, has 3 borders and 3 surfaces. Borders are anterior border, the lateral border, or the called interosseous border, and the medial border. The lateral border or interosseous border, it gives an attachment to an important membrane which attach the tibia to the fibula, which called interosseous membrane. Surfaces are a lateral surface, medial surface, and posterior surface. An important thing that the anterior border of the tibia is sharp-ended, and in its lower part it lies immediately beneath the skin, so it is subcutaneous in its lower part. On the posterior surface of the shaft of the tibia, an important landmark, oblique lying border called soleal line, and this line is an important landmark on the posterior surface of the tibia. It gives an attachment to an important muscle in the back of the leg called soleus muscle. Most of the body of the tibia on its posterior part is covered by muscle, whereas in the anterior surface, especially the lower part of the tibia in front, it is lacking muscle attachment, and this part also it lies immediately beneath the skin, so it is also subcutaneous. The lower part or the third part of the tibia is called the malleolar part of the tibia, and it is composed of 3 parts: medially expanding part, which expand downward, forming what is called medial malleolus, and an inferior flattened surface, which is articular surface, which will articulate with the talus bone to form the ankle joint, and lateral articular surface, which will articulate with the medial surface of the lower end of the fibula at the lower tibiofibular joint. On its posterior surface, the lower end of the tibia, it has a groove, and this groove is lodged by the tendon of a muscle called tibialis posterior muscle. So the groove is called a groove for the tendon of the tibialis posterior muscle. An important note that the lateral border of the tibia, it gives attachment to an important membrane which will fix tibia to the laterally situated bone, which is the fibula, and this membrane is called interosseous membrane, and the border also it has a name, another name called interosseous border. In this figure, you can see the lateral border of the shaft of the tibia, and it is attached to this membrane, which is called interosseous membrane. Second bone in the skeleton of the leg is the fibula. Fibula is long, cylindrical bone, thin bone, and also it is composed of 3 parts. Upper expanding part, head of the fibula, lower narrow thin part, malleolar end of the fibula, and in between is the thin cylindrical body or shaft of the fibula. First, the upper end of the fibula, which is called the head of the fibula, triangular in shape. It's expanding part. It has a medial articular surface which will articulate with lateral articular surface of the tibia of the upper or proximal tibiofibular joint. An important note that the upper end of the fibula, it does not share in the formation of the knee joint. And the upper peaked part of the head, it has a name, styloid process of the fibula. Next to the head of the fibula is small constricting part of the fibula, which is called neck of the fibula. The second part of the fibula is the shaft of the fibula, which is long, cylinder, thin bone. On transverse section, it has 4 borders. These borders less clear to be identified, and they are anterior border, posterior border, medial or interosseous border, and medial crest. The lateral, the medial border of the fibula is sometimes called as interosseous border because it gives attachment for interosseous membrane, which fix these 2 bones together. The lower part or the third part of the fibula, called malleolar part, which is also expanding part, laterally forming prominence called lateral malleolus of the fibula. Its lower end is expanding lower down, and it lies about 1.5 centimeter below than the lower end of the tibia, and the medial part of this end, it has two surfaces or two articular facets. On upper parts articulate with lateral articular facet of the tibia to form the lower tibiofibular joint, and lower down another facet for articulation with the lateral surface of the talus at the ankle joint. Fibula as a bone is thin and weak bone. It shares nothing in the formation of the knee joint. Also, it has no role as a weight bearing in the leg, because the weight bearing depends mainly on the tibia. So what is the importance of the fibula? The importance of the fibula, it gives an important attachment for the muscles of the leg, both anterior group, posterior group, and lateral group. Here you can see the fibula, which is the lateral situated bone with its articulation, upper articular facet for upper tibiofibular joint, lower articular facet for the lower tibiofibular joint, and a third facet for articulation with the talus at the ankle joint. And here you can see the attachment of interosseous membrane to the interosseous border of the fibula, which fix this laterally situated bone to the medially situated bone tibia. Another important function for interosseous membrane, it gives an attachment for the muscles of the legs. Thank you.